Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Talk of the Crown, my royal wedding Harry and Meghan special. And wow, what an amazing day it has been today. So much going on with the royal wedding, and I'm sure everyone's got lots to talk about. So welcome to everyone who has joined the chat. The format is exactly the same as every single week. I come on Saturday at 10 o'clock GMT, live, taking your questions, talking with you. Whatever you want to talk about, I will talk about. But I'm sure tonight's chat's going to be very, very heavily Harry and Meghan based, because that's what's been going on this whole week. Has been Harry and Meghan obsessed. The world has gone Harry and Meghan obsessed, and so have I, and I'm sure you have too. So the format is really easy. Just say hello, type a comment, type a question, and I will see if I can answer it. I may not have time to read all of your comments or to say hello to you all, but thank you for commenting anyway. If you need me to answer anything in particular, please retype it several times, and I will hopefully eventually get to you. So let's go straight to the chat room, which I have pre-opened. So here we are. I can see Melinda and I can see Freya. Freya says, my screen is small. Is that the Cambridge Lovers Not Tiara? Well spotted, it is. If you remember from a few weeks back, or maybe a few months back now, I've been talking about my Amazon wish list, which I will put the link in the description in this video once the video is finished. And this tiara, which is a replica, or as near a replica as you can possibly get from Amazon, is a replica of the Princess Diana Lovers Not Tiara, which became, I suppose, in the public conscience since she started wearing it. But of course, it is Queen Mary's Lovers Not Tiara. But anyway, I digress. Yes, it is a replica Lovers Not Tiara. And actually, it's a rather good replica. And someone joked about, shall I wear a tiara or a top hat? And I said, why can't I wear both? So that's what I've done. So it was a gift from one of you guys from my Amazon wish list. Oh dear says, I knew the tiara would look good with a top hat. Hello to Princess Jess. The Fifth Mrs. R says, funny enough, when Meghan got out of the roles, I said to my dog, she looks very Audrey Hepburn, only to find out she was in a Givenchy gown. Wow. Okay, I'm going to flap my fake news fan straight away, because everybody got it wrong. It wasn't Ralph and Russo. It wasn't Erdem. It was Givenchy, or Givenchy. I don't know how you say it where you are, but I'm going to call it Givenchy. It was Givenchy. And wow, what a gown it was. They fooled everybody. Everybody was fooled. In fact, I don't even think I heard Givenchy mentioned once. So they fooled us. And I'm really, really glad they fooled us, because I really wanted to be surprised. And I'm glad it wasn't that beaded Ralph and Russo dress that was put around as fake news all of the previous week. So I'm really, really happy that they fooled us. And I have to say, I really do. I like the dress. I think it was very simple. It was very stripped down, but I do absolutely love it. It was designed by Claire Waite Keller. There you go. For Givenchy, and it was stunning. It was so simple, but it was all about the veil. The entire dress was just about that veil, and it was, I mean, I don't even know how many feet it was, but it was so long and flowing. And in the St. George's Chapel, the stained glass windows lit it up with different colors, and there was one moment when she walked in when the light kind of shone on her and she looked angelic. It was gorgeous. I absolutely love it. Jamie says, is that the star brooch? Think might have a tip off. Yes, it's the star brooch, the Queen's star brooch, which I'm wearing today with my Bows by Dawn box bow. Did any foreign royals attend the wedding? I definitely know that Prince Lesotho, I think his name is, he attended, and he is Harry's close friend. Oh dear says, I loved the tiara Meghan was wearing. It was Queen Mary's diamond bandeau. And I have to admit, when she first drove out and we couldn't really see it very clearly, I did mistake it for the Strathmore rose tiara. I wasn't quite sure what it was. You couldn't really see. So my heart was a little bit of a flutter because, of course, that's the one that I'd been predicting all along. And it turns out it wasn't anyone's prediction. She went for Queen Mary's diamond bandeau. Now, interestingly enough, the centerpiece of the tiara can be removed as a brooch, and you can have other brooches fitted in there. In fact, Queen Mary, I think, did interchange it with different brooches. So an interesting point. And I think it was a perfect size of tiara for Meghan's dress and for Meghan's character. And I really, really hope that it wasn't just a loan for the wedding. I really hope it was a long-term loan so that Meghan can wear it all the time whenever the occasion arises, because I think it would be perfect with any outfit and for any event. So I hope that that will become her go-to tiara or bandeau, as they say. How much did the wedding cost? Well, probably millions if you include the cost of security and all of that kind of cost. But in terms of, you know, the actual cost of it to the royal family, probably around about $1 million, I would say. Although we have no confirmation on that. That is me just kind of taking a stab in the dark compared to what perhaps other celebrity weddings cost. Although, of course, a lot of what they've had is at the royal family's disposal. They presumably won't have had to have paid for St George's Chapel. Frogmore is within the royal gift. So is the receptions at Windsor Castle. Of course, the Queen hosted the lunch, so she would have paid for that. Prince Charles hosted the evening do, so they would have paid for that. I think Meghan Markle paid for her own dress. Harry would have already had his uniform. The cars are in the royal fleet, so maybe it didn't even cost that much. But the cost of security, which was very, very tight, and all the preparations would have cost quite a bit. So the cost to the royal family probably wouldn't have been that much, I would say. Nina says the train on the dress was beautiful. It was. I was a big admirer and fan of that train. Glassery says, Frida, the Prince of Lesotho, who founded Centre Ballet with Harry, was there. Yes, that's the prince that I was talking about. How much did the dress cost? Again, we don't know. Any kind of guess would just be pure speculation. And yes, the sermon. Wow. I think we all enjoyed the sermon. It was definitely something special. And I think we'll talk about that in a little bit. Sonia says, why didn't Meghan curtsy to the Queen after the ceremony? Well, I've been thinking about this, and it couldn't be that she'd already met the Queen in the day because she hadn't. She'd been staying in a hotel. It couldn't be any type of protocol, I don't think. I think the only thing I've come up with in my head is that maybe she is not officially a British citizen yet. I'm not sure whether she's actually been processed. So if she hasn't been processed and she's still technically an American citizen, even though she's married Prince Harry, which could still be possible, in that circumstance, she wouldn't be required to curtsy in front of the Queen. So it could be that. I'm not saying it is, but it could be. It could also be perhaps just as simple as she forgot. It could just be she forgot to do it. Of course, she's new to all this. And with everything going on in your head, you've just got married. It could just be a simple case of she forgot to do it. So either one of those two, I'm thinking, is possibly likely, because I can't think of any other reason. If you can think of any other reason, please do let me know. Melinda says, you heard 135,000. Where did you hear it from? Unless it's a proper correct source, then I don't think we can quite say. Jamie's updating me, 16 feet veil. Wow, I think veils are going to be the new trend in wedding dresses. What do you think? Candice says, I waited for Meghan's curtsy and I either missed it or it didn't happen. Again, the possibility, maybe the cameras cut away while she did it. I don't know. She could have forgot, or it could be because she's not technically an English citizen at the moment. I'm not entirely sure myself. Princess Jess says, the dress was simple and beautiful. I really like it, but I missed someone to help her with the veil. Yes, it would have been good maybe to straighten out the veil in some places, but it just looked gorgeous and amazing. Glassery heard it was 19 foot, but don't quote me. Well, I'm going to do a video on all the dress details tomorrow. So stay tuned. I will find it all out by then. So much has gone on today. I haven't had time to research all of the details. And in fact, I've been enjoying the royal wedding myself too. Hello to Ruth from Kansas. Ruth says, is Meghan the first Duchess of Sussex ever? Well, I know it's only had one previous incumbent, and I'm not sure whether he was married at the time of being the Duke of Sussex or not. So I will have to look out for that one without Googling now, but I'm sure we have some proficient Googlers who can update us on that one. So, okay, I'm going to start off with my day, my royal day. So I got up and I had a shower because I wanted to be fresh for the wedding. And as soon as I turned on the TV, while I was having my morning cup of tea, I heard the announcement that the Queen had conferred 3 titles upon Prince Henry of Wales, and that he was to be known as his primary title in the UK is the Duke of Sussex, which of course is what was mooted. No other possibility was there that people had spoken about. It was the Duke of Sussex that was confirmed. He had 2 other titles, the Earl of Dumbarton, which he will be known by in Scotland, and Meghan will be known as the Countess Dumbarton, and in Northern Ireland, Baron Kilkeel. So Meghan would be Baroness Kilkeel in that circumstance. So if ever they are in Northern Ireland, it's the Baron and Baroness Kilkeel. In Scotland, the Earl and Countess Dumbarton, and in the rest of the UK and the Commonwealth, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the title. It's as I say, it's the one that was always mentioned, that was rumoured to have been reserved for Harry, and it turned out that it was correct. The tiara. Oh no, I was going to go back through my day, wasn't I? Okay, so I'm changed. I'm sitting there waiting to watch the royal wedding, and I see all of the arrival of the guests, and I'm channel hopping because there's different coverage on different networks, and some are better than others. In fact, I watched Sky for the arrivals because I think they had better coverage for me. They were showing all the celebrity arrivals: David Beckham, George Clooney, Elton John. There was so much going on, all the arrivals. Then Sarah Ferguson arrived. So those of you who thought that she'd been snubbed by Prince Charles and snubbed and not invited to the wedding, it was completely untrue. As I've been saying all along, she was invited. She didn't arrive with the royal party and the royal family. She arrived separately. But I think that's just a protocol issue, but she was there. She was definitely there. And she arrived just before the royal family. And I think that shows her prominence within the royal family too. Then all the royal family came, and they all came in en masse. We saw Zara Tindall, Princess Anne, the Wessexes, the Yorks, Princess Beatrice and Eugenie actually looked really good. I think, for once. Let me know what you think, but I thought they made a really good effort. Everyone looked gorgeous. And then we saw Prince William and Harry come out and greet the crowds. They were walking down the hill. Then I think we saw the arrival of the Queen. I think the Queen came. Then it cut to Meghan leaving her hotel with Doria. And Doria's had a little bit of a makeover. She looked fabulous. Really smartly turned out. I think she did Meghan absolutely proud. And we saw that little hint of tiara through the car window. And I couldn't quite make out what it was. It wasn't the Strathmore tiara, although I thought at first it may have been because of the central piece in it. But it wasn't. It wasn't the Strathmore tiara. It was indeed Queen Mary's diamond bandeau. And I'm not sure whether I've said it in this video or a previous one I did, but the centerpiece of that can be removed and used as a brooch, and it can be interchanged with different brooches. And I really, really hope that that is one that Meghan has been given on a long-term loan, because I think it suits her perfectly. Linda says her dress for the evening was stunning. Yes, it was. And again, nobody got the second dress designer correct either. It was Stella McCartney. There you go. And very elegant and beautiful. And some eagle-eyed people out there on the internet have spotted that she was wearing Princess Diana's aquamarine aquamarine ring. And I'm going to make a video on that tomorrow about all of her different wedding jewelry, the tiara, the ring, the new set that she was wearing. So all of the jewelry I will talk about tomorrow. But yes, she was spotted, and I'm sure it's the same one. It was a Princess Diana aquamarine ring. So she's already been given some of Princess Diana's jewelry. And as I was saying, the suite of jewels which she appeared to be wearing was by Cartier. So the two earrings were Cartier. The bracelet she wore for the ceremony was Cartier. Then for the evening dress, she was wearing Diana's aquamarine ring with a different pair of matching Cartier drop earrings, which matched the bracelet perfectly. Going back to jewelry, Prince Harry had a platinum wedding band, and Meghan's had that little touch of Welsh gold from that nugget that was given to the royal family. And they chose Cleve and Company to make their ring. So there you go, a little bit of information on the jewelry. Jamie's done a bit of Googling, and he says, yes, she was indeed the first Duchess of Sussex. Okay, where are we? Sue Miller says, Prince Philip walked well. I nearly mistook him. He moved so fast. Yes, when Philip got out of the car. Now, I will say, for the Royal Windsor Horse Show, he stayed in his car the whole time. We never saw him get out. And I had at the back of my mind that I thought he may be playing a little trick on us, thinking that he was more incapacitated than he actually was. So when he gets out of the car, he just springs up, no stick, no crutches, no wheelchair, and he walks. And he manages everything perfectly. So I think he's been playing a little bit of a trick on us. I think he wanted to debut his amazing walking skills and recovery skills at the wedding. And I don't think he wanted them to be seen before. I think he wanted to amaze the world. And he did. He looked, I thought, rather well, considering all the surgery and rehab he will have been going through. Let me know what you think. Livia says, hello from Brazil. Hello. Is she forced to become pregnant? No. If anyone said that, it's fake news. She's not forced to, but I think she will. I think she will fall pregnant fairly quickly, and I'm hoping, I predict, a new royal baby for Harry and Meghan in 2019, possibly. Lorne West says, she did curtsy. They just got a wide shot of it. Google it, she did curtsy. Okay, I didn't see a curtsy, but if you're saying she did, then she did. It was just the fact that the cameras missed it. There we go. Dawn says, she did curtsy. It was filmed from the top and could not see it well. Well, there you go. Mystery solved. I'm going to call the fact that she didn't curtsy fake news. Jamie says, the Queen wore the Richmond brooch last seen at her 90th birthday mass. Yes, I was going to comment on what the Queen was wearing. Her lovely, well, I don't know, maybe controversial outfit. I don't think people necessarily loved it, or did you? Let me know. But the Queen certainly was wearing rather fetching colours, and the outfit was by Stuart Parvin. And as Jamie rightly said, it was the Richmond brooch. I do not have a replica of that one. Josie says, will Eugenie's wedding be as big? I don't think so. I mean, she may have access to the same kind of locations as Harry, but I don't think it will be televised at all. I think it will be similar perhaps to Zara's in scale. Oh, and there was a lovely touching moment that was caught on camera where Mike Tyndall, this is after the wedding, but they were still in St. George's Chapel. Mike Tyndall was kind of tenderly rubbing and playing with Zara's baby bump. Which was, I think, rather lovely. I think it was lovely. And actually, Mike Tyndall was turned out really, really well. Now he's got his new nose. I thought he looked really handsome, I have to say. Freya says it takes 2 years to become a British citizen if you're married to a citizen. Well, there you go. But I'm sure she'll be kind of fast-tracked. But that was my other train of thought with the whole curtsy thing. Perhaps it was something to do with that. But I think she's probably going to be fast-tracked. First Mrs. R says, I think she curtsied. Well, there you go. I think we've established that some people have seen a curtsy. So I'm not going to argue with that. And Jamie says she did curtsy, but the camera angle was dreadful. I thought she didn't too, but couldn't see. Well, there we go. I think we're probably going to go with that she did curtsy for that one. Ken ATL says, congratulations on the correct prediction of Sussex. Well, there we go. What are your thoughts on the choice of tiara? I liked it. It was one we hadn't thought about. It was one that was obviously in the royal vault. The Queen doesn't wear it. Camilla doesn't wear it. No other royal wears it in recent times. So I think it was a really good choice. I like the size of it. I like the pattern. It looked modern in today's setting, even though it was. In fact, I've got some dates. The actual tiara was put together with diamonds in 1932, but the central brooch was actually from 1893. So it has some real history to it, which I think was lovely, but it still looked rather modern, I think. So yes, I must admit, I did like the choice of tiara. Sharon says, after God Save the Queen, Harry bowed and Meghan did curtsy, but it was hard to see. Well, there you go. Rue says, I like that they called him Harry throughout the ceremony rather than Henry. They only used their real names once, and that was first to address them. They used Henry and Rachel first. Thereafter, as was in the programme, which was released late last night, thereafter it was Harry and Meghan, and from now on, I think they're going to be known as Harry and Meghan, albeit their official titles too. Nina says, why didn't they kiss inside after being pronounced man and wife? They just didn't. I don't know why. But we did get a kiss. We did get a royal kiss on the steps. The only shame about where they were in St. George's Chapel is you haven't got the great balcony scene that you have at Buckingham Palace. You haven't got the big mall with all the crowds of people. You had a small gathering inside the cloister. They did cheer, they did applaud, but not many people, I think, kind of got the full effect of the kiss. So, you know, in terms of the royal kiss, Buckingham Palace is better with the ceremonial balcony, but nevertheless, they did kiss. It was broadcast, and they didn't go in for a second kiss, but it was still good. They still kissed. We can't complain. We would definitely be complaining if they didn't kiss. First Mrs. R says, I love that she gave a nod to the entire Commonwealth on her train. Yes, she did. She had all of the floral emblems emblazoned, or rather embroidered into the veil, which was lovely. You think it was a nod to the Queen and Prince Harry's new position? I'd like a close-up picture of the embroidery on the veil. I would too, and if I find one, I will definitely include it somewhere in a video. I think it was a really lovely touch, and I think now that Prince Harry has a prominent role with the Commonwealth, with Meghan by his side, I think she wanted to include that in because that's going to be her future position, and maybe it indicates the direction her work will go in as well. But yes, I did love that idea. Yes, it was very 1930s, and I loved it. Ruth said, I cried throughout the ceremony because I wished Diana could have been there. I cried too. I cried from the minute I kind of saw Meghan until, you know, I just cried. I blubbed. It kind of got me roused. The music, my favourite piece of music was actually Greensleeves, written by Henry VIII. I thought that was beautiful. Let me know what your favourite piece of music was. Oh, the choir. The gospel choir was amazing, singing Stand By Me. And that lady with the back-wing dress was flowing her arms, and it was kind of bat-winging and flapping in the breeze. But it was that dress was something to behold. Wow. And the singing, very rousing, and I loved it. And we'll get to that sermon soon too, from the American priest. Danny says, yes, she did. Okay, people are saying that, yes, she did actually curtsy. Stacey Lamb says, I heard the first Duke of Sussex had 2 illegal marriages, not sure why they were illegal. I'm not sure too. I haven't looked into him much. So I'm afraid I don't know too much about him. But I was thinking of doing a video comparing, because there's only been obviously one other Duke of Sussex, comparing the 2 dukes. So in my research, I'm sure I will find out all of that kind of information, and I will find out for you why or if it is even true that he had 2 illegal marriages. I don't know. I will have to find out. Jamie says, did you notice the empty seat beside William? A nod to Diana, perhaps. People have said that the seat in front of the Queen was left as a nod to Diana. I'm not so sure. I think it's possibly to do with something, some kind of protocol of not sitting in front of the Queen or obscuring the view of the Queen, perhaps. And we can't compare it to the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge's wedding because the Queen was in the front row. So there was no possibility of having anyone in the seat in front of her. So I'm not entirely sure. Perhaps I'll have to look back at other royal weddings and see if anybody was in front of the Queen, or if there was an empty seat again, or whether she's been at the front for every royal wedding. I can't quite remember her placement in the other royal weddings, but I'm sure we can find out. But, you know, it could have been a nod to Diana, but I'm not so sure. I think the nods that were important were the forget-me-nots in the bouquet, because, of course, it was Princess Diana's favourite flower, and I think it was picked from one of the Kensington Palace gardens too. So that was a really lovely nod. And, of course, Lady Jane Fellows, Princess Diana's sister, gave a reading, which was lovely. So, you know, the Spencers were featured. That side of the family was remembered. And, you know, I think the modern and forward way, the blend of the American and the different cultures, was kind of very Princess Diana in style herself. I think that is the kind of thing perhaps she would have liked and pushed for anyway. So I think Diana was included in lots of different ways. Obviously, Meghan has got the aquamarine ring. Wow. So yes, I think Diana has most certainly been included, but I'm not so sure about the seat. We can't say for sure on that one. And yes, Harry did pick flowers for the bouquet. Jamie says, I presume by Ireland you mean Northern Ireland. Can't see anyone here being used of title. Yes, of course I meant Northern Ireland. Oh dear says, I was sad too because there wasn't anyone from either side of her family to sit with her mother. Her uncle is a retired diplomat that got her a position at the UN, and others that are not rogues. Okay, maybe this is a good point to talk about the great Markle debacle that happened this week too. And there was kind of, you know, so much fake news going around and so much true news and so many leaks and, you know, actual leaks to TMZ. It was just wow, it was incredible. And I said in my video I made yesterday, I spoke a little bit about this, and it was this time last week where I was saying how much I was a fan of Thomas Markle, and I still am. I think he was more of a victim in this, an innocent kind of victim. Yes, he did play his part in the whole thing, but he was very ill-advised. The daughter Samantha came out and said that she advised that he kind of revamp his image because he was seen as being dowdy and whatever. But I never saw him as being dowdy, so I'm not entirely sure that that is actually accurate. I think he was very ill-advised, and what he should have done is apologized unreservedly. He should have said that he made a mistake. He should have paid back any money that he'd made from the sale of those photographs to the Royal Foundation charities. He should have also requested, or, you know, asked that the photographer involved paid his money that he'd earned from the photographs to that charity too. And then he should have said that it is his express wish to accompany his daughter down the aisle to give her away. And I think that would have solved everything. And if he'd shut his mouth, not gone to TMZ as a, you know, some sort of hotline, then I think the whole situation could have been avoided. I also think Kensington Palace, behind the scenes, perhaps could have managed it better to give him some advice on how to deal with this kind of situation. Anyway, it transpired that he had a heart condition that led to a heart attack where he had to have surgery, so he couldn't attend the wedding. Prince Charles stepped in, Meghan asked him, and I thought it was really lovely. And of course, walking someone down the aisle, accompanying them, is not the same as giving them away. So although Prince Charles didn't give her away, he did make a lovely gesture by walking her down the aisle. And I think he did a really great job. So a big thumbs up from me to Prince Charles, who I also thought looked really smashing and dashing in his suit. Let me know what you think. Lady Buckingham says, did William helicopter off to the football match? No, he stayed for the entire wedding. First Mrs. R says, his whole look was a vintage pastiche. Oh, her whole look was a vintage pastiche. Yes, her veil and tiara looked 1920s, and her dress looked neo-50s with that lovely boat neck. I loved the neckline, which was absolutely gorgeous. Freya McCulloch says, Victoria Beckham gets best dressed. In my opinion, she looked amazing. She did. I also liked George Clooney's wife, Imal. Christine says, the last Duke of Sussex married a Catholic, so marriage was not recognised. Ah, well, there you go. I will find all this out when I research it tomorrow. Rodney says, hello. Sorry I'm late. It's been a very exciting day. It has indeed. And yes, I think the Yorks did play it quite low-key, but of course there was lots of focus on the main players of the wedding. I think Earl Spencer was there because I think all of Diana's, close family was there and included in some way. Okay, I'm just scanning up. Right, what I'm going to do is remove the tiara from my top hat because it's actually quite heavy. So I'm going to put the tiara as a nod myself to Diana over here next to my Harry and Meghan cup. There we go. It was just getting a little bit heavy. Tiaras and top hats are fine, but maybe not for a long use. Hang on, let me go and find the chat window. Okay, Dandy says, my favourite parts were Harry's heart eyes when he said, you look amazing, I missed you. They'd only been apart a night and he missed it. I thought that was lovely too. When Meghan was coming up the aisle and mouthed hi to Harry, every time they cut to Doria, Bishop Curry and the choir. Yes, Doria looked like she was on the brink of tears the whole way through. And Bishop Curry, shall we talk about Bishop Curry since you mentioned him? Wow, what a preacher he is. I mean, wow, what a speech he gave. Or shall we call it a sermon? I don't quite know what to call it. But I will say this, here in the UK, in Britain, we are definitely not used to that in church. I know that's the way, lots of other countries do it. These kind of like gospel preachers, but we don't do it in the Church of England. None of our vicars preach like that. We are so not used to it. So if you saw Camilla giggling slightly or trying to hold back a giggle, or Prince Charles, or even the Queen, I think at one point looked like she was going to perhaps do a little giggle, it's because we're not used to it. It's a style that we're not used to, and it perhaps made some people in the congregation and indeed the royal family maybe feel a little bit uncomfortable. And of course, when you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable, it's a natural reaction perhaps to find it funny, because it is not a style, as I say, we are used to. So if you saw any of them trying to kind of break into a laugh or stifle a giggle, it wasn't out of being disrespectful, because I actually thought that Bishop Curry, it was an amazing speech. It was fabulous. But it's just a style of delivery that here in Britain we're not used to, and it did make some people perhaps feel a little uncomfortable. Doria was loving it. Every time you cut to Doria, she was absolutely loving it. But the words he was saying were very touching, and it was all about love and the power of love. I thought it was amazing. You know, hopefully I'm going to find like a big clip of it and I might put it on the channel. But yes, it was truly something. The only thing I would say is it perhaps went on a little bit too long. We know that the Queen only likes her services to be short. So I'm sure she was kind of thinking, hurry up a little bit. And Prince Philip is not known for his patience. You know, I'm sure he would have been probably wanting it to have hurried up a little bit. But it was good. And I have to say the words he was saying, the sentiment behind it was really touching and lovely. And I think it was a good choice to involve Bishop Curry in it because it really did bring the sort of British and American aspects just clashing and colliding together. And that's what we got with, you know, the whole choir, Bishop Curry. We had a complete amalgamation, a complete blend of different cultures and American and British, and it was fabulous, I have to say. So Bishop Curry gets a big old thumbs up from me, but just maybe shorten them a little bit in Britain, perhaps. Oh, and I thought the candlestick at one point was going to just topple off because he kept touching the podium, should we call it? I don't know what it's quite called, the altar or podium, and the candles were wobbling slightly. I thought, oh my goodness, is one going to fall to the floor? And he was very animated. And as I say, it's just a style of delivery that we're not used to. Loretta says, thanks for the wonderful videos. What was my favourite part of the wedding? Okay, my favourite part of the wedding, I have to say. So I'm trying to think because it was all so good. Maybe the carriage procession. We haven't talked about that yet, but they had a carriage procession in the Ascot Landau, which was the one that Prince Harry was in for William's wedding, funnily enough. And of course, the weather was gorgeous, so no need for the backup coach with the that was all kind of, you know, well weatherproofed and had a roof on for the rain. So beautiful day, beautiful carriage ride. And the carriage procession did move faster, quicker than I imagined. The horses were kind of going for it, but it was still good, and the crowds gathered got a real chance to see the couple. Sonia says, I loved the moment where Harry and Meghan were sitting holding hands and Harry was playing with her engagement ring. Yes. Dandy says, I don't think Doria had a makeover so much as she was dressed up for the wedding. Don't forget the press took intrusive pictures of her as she hiked, etc. Doria is a lovely woman. She is indeed. And I think it was really lovely when they were going in to do all the signing of the wedding register that Prince Charles kind of escorted Doria and offered his hand. And I thought that was lovely and sort of goes to show that the whole family likes Meghan's family. Or at least Doria, shall we say. So yes, I thought that was very touching. And yes, the York princesses were beautifully turned out, almost immaculate, shall I say. James Med 4 says, the train was like the Queen with 2 page boys. Countess Bavaria wanted to give her a hug. Are we talking Meghan or Doria? Okay. Jamie says, Prince Philip is much too proudly masculine to use a stick. I'm sure he'd rather bear plenty of pain. Not saying he did, but not to be seen. I've still got a bit of my hay fever cough, by the way. James Metaphor says, Prince Philip has done amazing at almost 97. I thought he would need at least a cane. He surprised us all. Wow. Melody says, I loved the way Doria was so present in the moment, not at all overwhelmed or intimidated, such a warm and elegant person. She was too busy trying not to cry to be overwhelmed, I think. Lillian Rose says, the train had all the flowers of the Commonwealth nations. Yes, they did. Suzanne is giving me some information. The Dukedom of Sussex was first conferred in the 24th of November 1801 upon Prince Augustus Frederick, the 6th son of, and I think it was Queen Victoria. Danny says, I also loved when Harry and William swagged up to church, hubba hubba. They did indeed look rather fetching. In the Blues and Royals. No, hang on, what was it? The Blues and Royals. No, it wasn't. Hang on. I have it written down. It was Blues and Royals, frock coat. There you go. My head is so full of royal information, I'm slightly losing the plot. It was the Blues and Royals frock coat, and it did look really, really good. I was thinking perhaps he'd go for the Royal Marines, but no, the Blues and Royals frock coat suited perfectly, and he didn't shave his beard. I heard he had permission from the Queen to leave his beard, and I was kind of hoping that he would leave his beard. The first Mrs. R says, I knew that Prince Philip was going to walk. He's not a vain man, but yes, he's got pride. I would agree with that. And yes, I agree with Ruth. I wish Fergie could have sat with Andrew and the girls too. We don't know where they're going on honeymoon. In fact, they're not going straight away because they've got an engagement next week. They may go away for a few days of seclusion and peace, perhaps to Balmoral, perhaps even to Sandringham. But they've got an engagement next week. But they are going to have a honeymoon, but it will be a delayed one. We're thinking Africa, but nothing confirmed. Possibly Nairobi. Princess Jess says, do you think the Queen was upset or not? A happy face. Oh, her face. Well, the Queen sometimes has a resting face that doesn't look very happy, but I think she was very happy. I'm sure I saw smiles in there somewhere. Christine says, I love your tiara. Is it new? Yes, it was a gift from my Amazon wish list, which I haven't showed the opening of yet. I've been really, really busy, snowed under with my day job and the royal stuff. So I haven't had my opening, but I wanted to debut it. So there it is. So thank you so much for getting me the Duchess, the Lover's Knot replica tiara. I told you my brain is going to mush. I'm all weddinged out. Do I know if their apartment is? Well, we don't even know yet that it is their apartment. Apartment 1 is being, well, at least the roof is being refurbed because we've seen the scaffolding and the sheeting, but we don't know if it's actually been given. In fact, there's been no comment or announcement whatsoever about where they will reside or if they've been given a country property. We think possibly York Cottage. Apartment 1 at Kensington Palace has been suggested, but we don't know. But what we do know is that they will be moving, well, staying in Nottingham Cottage as they have been doing, and they will likely get a country property, possibly a York Cottage. But apartment 1, we don't yet know. Was the car a gift from the Queen? No, I think it was one of Prince Charles's, and it was a vintage Jaguar E-Type that had been converted to electric. And it looked gorgeous, it really did. And it was good to see, because William did the same kind of thing too at his wedding. Suzanne said, the 6th son of King George III. Oh, George III, there we go, not Queen Victoria. The title became extinct upon his death in 1843. Then the next granted to Prince Harry, says Wikipedia. Well, there you go. So he wasn't the 6th, so he wasn't Queen Victoria's son, it was King George III. I will research all about this Duke in due course. Danny says, I think many of the royals were really uncomfortable with Bishop Curry's speech, but I thought it was lovely, really moving and a great message, but I'm American. I think people, you know, your side of the pond are used to that kind of thing in a church, that way of preaching, of delivering in church. We're just not. We really are not. So it was different, shall we say. Sunshine says, hiya, happy wedding day. Hello to you. And yes, the Duchess of Kent was there. I didn't know Prince Edward and her had ever had a fallout. I'm probably thinking anything you've heard about a fallout between the Duchess of Kent and Prince Edward is fake news. Jamie says, should have got on top of the round tower with the family and kissed. That would have been a good vantage point, actually. I agree. Yes, I really kind of missed the balcony scene too. Okay, I'm going to go down a few comments because I'm a little bit far behind, but there we go. Hang on. Oh, there you go. The Mrs. R says, that piece was Ralph Vaughan Williams's Fantasia on Greensleeves. It's one of my favourite pieces from one of my favourite composers. I was so excited to hear it. I loved that too. Yes, I agree with you. I predict the media will definitely still call her Meghan Markle. Angie thinks the seat was left for a clear view for the Queen, or of the Queen. I would probably go with that one too. Mary West says the bishop's speech made me nervous as well. I thought he was going to knock over the candle. He was also embarrassed me too. He spoke way too long. My only criticism, I think, was that it was just slightly too long. The words were all beautiful. I actually didn't mind the style of preaching, even though I'm not used to it. But I did think it perhaps went on maybe 4-5 minutes too long, perhaps. I mean, he spoke for what seemed like a good 15 minutes at least. Nora is correct. We will have to wait for the Queen's official birthday to see Harry and Meghan on the balcony. That's if they're there. They could be away on a foreign tour. We don't know yet. But yes, that's probably likely the next opportunity to see them. Sue Miller says the first Duke married in secret and didn't get permission from his father, and it was annulled. But then he went and did it again. He sounds like a lovely fellow. I'm going to be thrilled to research him. Living the Good Life says, did you see the look that Harry and Meghan shared when the priest mentioned children? They were smiles. I think children are not going to be far off. And yes, it was a day of pure magic. Jamie says, I think when the church is set up normally, the front seats aren't there. They were just normal chairs. Oh, yes, the Middletons. The Middletons arrived together too. First Miss R says, Catherine is still Kate Middleton. To the media, she's still Kate Middleton, but she should be the Duchess of Cambridge or Catherine. But yes, Pippa did look lovely, and of course, being pregnant, I think she's carrying off her early pregnancy quite well. Mary West wore her tiara as well during the wedding. Yours was plastic, Disney, but I thought of you while I was wearing it. Big thumbs up for wearing tiaras. I'm all for wearing tiaras. Jamie says, plus the seat where the Queen is her seat in the Order of the Garter. There we go. So I don't think there was anything in particular. I don't think it was a nod to Diana. It was just an empty seat. And no, Harry didn't shave. But I like his beard. Yes, we saw Prince Ciccio. And yes, I think the Earl Spencer was definitely there. I'm sure I saw him. Lillian Rowan says, when Lady Jane Fellows gave the reading, it was like hearing Diana's voice again. Harry listened intently. He did. George Gall is laughing at my reference to the Markle debacle, the great Markle debacle, as I call it, which threatened to actually overshadow the wedding. And I'm really glad it got officially sorted so that we could move on in the last few days to the actual wedding. Freya says, during the service, Camilla and Catherine looked as though they were having a hat off. Oh, I loved Camilla's hat with all the feathers. It was gorgeous. I always loved Camilla's choice in hats. Marilyn, hello to you, says, Prince Charles just showed himself to be a true gentleman and a loving father today. He was. And a good friend, I think. I think maybe he's going to be a good friend to Doria. Sunshine says, well, they mentioned Diana. Sad they didn't. Maybe it wasn't quite right to mention her. Because, of course, the day was about Harry and Meghan, not about kind of rousing feelings that perhaps should be left for another time. I think this was all about being happy for Harry and Meghan and not trying to make them sad, perhaps. Dawn says, I really hope they will now move Doria to England, not only because she's close to her daughter, but for her safety too. I hope that she moves to England too, actually. We welcome Doria. You can come and stay, Doria. Please do. James Medford says, when Meghan and her mother were driven from the hotel, the car was going way too fast. Her mother's ensemble was sublime and she carried herself with complete decorum. She did. She played the part beautifully, I have to say. And yes, the young bridesmaids and page boys, adorable and cute. George and Charlotte played a blinder. They were so well behaved and just so gorgeous. All the others, the Mulroney children, the Litts, they were all great. A really good choice, I think, by Meghan. They were all so well behaved and adorable. And I love the outfits too. And yeah, the page boy with the missing front teeth. He looked so excited when the fanfare for Meghan's entrance blared. That will be the one classic picture for the wedding. It will indeed. But we all can't help losing our teeth at that age. Glassary says, Elliot, is it true that Sarah of York was not attending the wedding breakfast, luncheon, or the Frogmore reception? Well, she attended the wedding. Obviously, we don't know if she was at the St. George's Hall dinner, and we don't know if she was at the evening do. But there was nothing official to say that she wasn't. There was nothing official to say that she was. But it would be very, I think, odd to invite her to the wedding and then not the sit-down lunch when she's actually the mother of Princess Beatrice and Eugenie, and still possibly the lover of Prince Andrew. I say possibly in commas. I think I'm going to fan flap my own little bit of fake news there. I'm going to fan flap myself. But you know what I mean. It would be quite odd, I think, not to have her there. The evening do, who knows? Maybe she didn't want to go. Maybe she did go. We actually really don't know, unless somebody leaks that information out. And yes, I loved Meghan's evening dress too, Marilyn. It was gorgeous. All sorts thinks Andrew never looks happy. Who agrees? James Medford says, I hope Meghan's father will be invited and will stay perhaps at Birkhall or Balmoral to meet everyone. I hope eventually they do all get to meet, I have to say, once the Markle debacle is long gone and forgotten. Mary West says, if Sarah isn't attending the other events, at least she was invited to the wedding. I agree. She wasn't at Will and Catherine's wedding at all. Yes, that much we do know for fact. Sunshine didn't like the wedding gown, too plain and simple. But you think Catherine's was great. Well, Catherine's had a little bit more sort of lace and embroidery. I think Meghan's was a lot more subtle. But I really liked the stripped back look, I have to say, because the focal point was that veil and the tiara as well, I have to say. Cherry Blossom loved everything about it. No, nothing that I'm aware of about anyone coming out of the wedding reception yet. But her second wedding dress was by Stella McCartney, and it was gorgeous. James Medford says that way of preaching by Bishop Curry is not the norm in the USA. Okay. And yes, everyone, please remember to like this video. Please give me a big old thumbs up. Oh, sorry, James Medford. You meant the Duke and Duchess of Kent, not Prince. For some reason, I thought you meant Prince Edward or Andrew. I can't remember what you said. But yes, I think that they were leading slightly estranged lives. But why not turn up together at a wedding? Mary West says, I felt that the bishop felt he had all of us hostage and just kept on and on. And you're from the South in America and you're used to that style of preaching, but not at weddings. Yes, I think most people would just kind of trying to hold back a nervous laugh. You know how people sometimes can do a nervous laughter. Vinny Blair's laughing when I create my own fake news. There you go. I have to flap myself. I think there was something put out. I can't quite remember the official photos next week, early next week, I think. Possibly Monday. Chris says, I hope that after Eugenie gets married in October, the next wedding is Andrew and Sarah. They're better together. I would agree with that, but I don't think we're going to see that. Lillian Rose says, the wedding gown let the veil and tiara do all the talking. It did. That's what I was trying to say. I definitely agree with that. Sandy's thinking that Thomas Markle never intended on going to the wedding and he never had a heart issue. If he was so sick, why didn't any of his other children come to his aid? Again, we don't know. I'm calling it all the Great Markle debacle, and I'm going to park it all up, put it in a box, stick it on the back shelf, and never talk about it again, because it was the vein of my week, trying to sift through all the fake news stories from true stories. It's gone. No more Markle debacle. Glattery says, oh my God, that stray piece of hair made me crazy, but I weirdly think it was intentional, as Meghan always had that strand flying around. Is that the one that she likes to finger? Sandy says, please do an episode on the wedding hats. I could. Midnight Hazel, we figured out that she did indeed curtsy to the Queen. But some people didn't see it because of the way the shot was done. So lots of our viewers have seen Meghan curtsy to the Queen. And yes, green was very popular today. I think Jamie predicted blue for the Queen, but the Queen definitely wasn't wearing blue. And Jamie is currently malfunctioning. Marilyn Blythe says, I loved Meghan's dress. She has a very simple, streamlined aesthetic, no lace and frilly bits and bobs for her. It did look stunning, I have to say. I really did like it. I'm hoping the tiara will be on long-term loan, but nothing confirmed, because like I said earlier, I think the tiara is the perfect size for most occasions. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's not too flashy, it's not too old-fashioned. It works with any modern clothes. I think you can interchange the brooch in the middle, or you can just wear the brooch. I think it's a really versatile piece of jewelry that I think should be on long-term loan to her, but we'll have to wait and see if she wears that or something else. Sometimes maybe they're given two tiaras. I mean, we know Catherine never wore her wedding Cartier halo tiara again, but she interchanges the honeysuckle with the lover's knot. So perhaps Meghan may get shot at another tiara, and maybe they could be bandied around. We really don't know. I don't think there was a second kiss in the carriage. If there was, I missed it. And no, we have no news on a house as of yet. All we know is that they will be residing at Nottingham Cottage for the near future, at least. Mary West says, Queen Mary's tiara has always been my favourite, but won't the tiara be on show with the dress? Eventually, probably it will be on show in some kind of exhibition, but then Meghan could just loan another tiara if something came up where she needed to wear one. Okay, Jamie's breaking it down. Apparently the Queen wears blue 26% of the time and green 24%. So odds stacked on me to no avail. So Jamie was using clever statistics to guess the Queen's colour for the dress. But she fooled you. She fooled you all. No, I never saw any footage by HBO. No, I'm not surprised that Harry was wearing a wedding band. In fact, I was more surprised that William didn't, because Prince Charles does. And yes, Meghan's Suits co-stars were also there. Yes, I thought that the Duchess of Cambridge's outfit was suitable for a wedding and kind of complemented, I think, Meghan's dress. And it possibly was the one that she wore for Charlotte's christening, thinking about it. Jamie says they can't get a house because with only one income, they couldn't get a mortgage in London. I don't think they'll have that difficulty, really. I didn't see the second kiss. I will have to have a look for it. I really didn't see it. And lots of people liking Catherine's coat and outfit. Now I'm just checking my list to see if I've kind of missed anything today. I don't think I have, actually. So where are they now? I will talk about where they are possibly now. So it's currently 11:30 in the UK. So most guests will still be at Frogmore partying. We know that Elton John performed, I think, at the lunchtime meal hosted by the Queen. Okay, I've talked about everything that was on my notes, so completely over to you guys now. Kelly says to you, Zara looked uncomfortable. I thought she looked fine, to be fair. I didn't notice anything, but maybe I wasn't looking that hard at her. Okay. Kinala says there was a second kiss in the carriage. I will have to look out for that one. Odia says, got to run. Thanks for the live chat. You are welcome. Shining Star says the Bishop Curry was funny but not cringe. Karen loved the lime green, and Catherine's and the Queen's were purple flowers. Jamie's favourite part was the Queen's arrival. Well, Jamie is a huge fan of the Queen, so of course that would be his favourite part. But you loved all of the wedding things, but nothing beats the Queen, especially when she popped up. I went away, yuck, lime green. Oh no, Jamie doesn't like lime green. In fact, he hated the Ninja Turtle colour that she wore on the balcony to Trooping the Colour one year. My goodness. Danielle liked Sarah Chateau's hat, very Aubrey Hepburn from the mid-60s or 60s. Possibly borrowed from Princess Margaret's wardrobe. Who knows? Could be. They may have kept some of Margaret's millinery. Does MI5 do the security for the royals? No, they have their own protection provided by the police, so that will have all been scouted out. But MI5, I'm sure, will have been looking for information regarding any possible attacks, I would imagine. Vinny Blair says, think it was great to wear Diana's amethyst to the second reception. Looked great with that outstanding dress. I'm not sure it was an amethyst. I think it was an aquamarine. It looked very blue in the photograph that I saw. And yes, Princess Charlotte was all smiles and waving. She looked adorable. Jamie saw those awful images of green screen Queen, and I just thought in my head, oh no, here we go again. There could be green screens on the Queen. You are quite right. Totally quite right. But some of them can be quite funny. Wow, we have 170 viewers watching. Can I make a special request from all of my viewers that are watching right now? If you can see the little thumbs up button, then please do press it, because it helps YouTube work out that people like the video, and then it pushes it to more and more people, so more and more people can see the channel and see this video and get involved in the chat, because I want more and more people for next week's chat and the chat after that every Saturday live at 10 o'clock GMT. Now, within the last 24 hours, for some reason, I have gone up by 3,000 subscribers. Wow, and yikes. I never expected that. I posted a celebratory, I've reached 36,000, and then suddenly I'm on 39,000. So in less than 24 hours. So thank you to everybody who has subscribed, everybody who watches my videos, who gives it a thumbs up and comments and watches it all the way to the end. It does also help YouTube work out which videos are good if people watch them all the way to the end. Their algorithm kind of works it all out. So please do watch the videos to the end and give them a thumbs up and comment. It really does help. Rosary says, watching the carriage ride on PC whilst watching you all on cell phone. My funny side wanders off the street sweeper was following close behind. Lai says, wish I could give 5 thumbs up. I wish you could too, but 1 will do. Thank you so much. Midnight Hazel says, you're looking very dapper. Thank you too. Jamie's gained 250 subscribers today. Diane pressed the like button. Thank you so much. People are giving me thumbs up. Thank you, thank you. And Mary West says, I'm so happy for Harry and Meghan and hope they have a wonderful life together. Thanks. Okay, I will try and make a video about the hats. I really will. Jamie says he pressed the thumb facing down. Is that the right one? No, turn that thumb the other way up. I was going to say turn that frown upside down, but no, that doesn't quite work, does it? Oprah Winfrey was there. Yes, she was. Oh, but people think her outfit was too tight and the colour did nothing for her. Oh, poor Oprah. Also, it says you are the best. Quality content, not fake news. I do always try my best, wherever possible. Never, ever, ever, ever to deliver fake news. Shining Star says, Doria was magnificent, don't you think? Yes, I do. I think she was very dignified, calm, and yes, very regal herself, I have to say. Okay, lots of people saying Oprah's dress was a bit too tight. In America, they're showing wedding repeats all night, apparently. Oh, sorry, Jamie's saying, I am only 250 subs off, what, 40,000? That's 4,000 increase. Where have they come from? My goodness. Wow. Okay, guys. My target was 50,000 subs. What was it, by Christmas or something or other? But my real humongous target, the super duper target, is 100,000 subscribers. Because not only do I receive an official YouTube plaque, which I can display behind me, but also I get access to a new feature which YouTube has introduced, where members can kind of, I forgot what they called it now. It's kind of like being a patron or like a channel supporter. And members can pay a little bit of money each month and they get special features within YouTube. On my channel. So for example, I don't know, for example, your comments are always up there first if you post them, or you can have little logos and all kinds of things. I don't know quite how it works, but when I get to 100,000 subscribers, I can put that on my channel. So I have two reasons to get to 100,000, of course, so I can access these new features for you guys, but also I want my plaque. I want my silver YouTube plaque, because it's kind of like a badge of that your channel's doing really well. And it's kind of like, I mean, who doesn't like getting awards and certificates? So please help me to get to my silver certificate, because it shows me that, you know, that I've done a good job. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed, but it's also important that you hit the notification bell. There's a little bell somewhere. So if you go to my main page, look for the bell, hit that, and you will always be notified whenever I upload a new video, because you don't automatically get my videos put to you when I upload them if you're just merely a subscriber. You have to also hit the bell, hit the notification bell, and you will be, as I say, you will be made aware of whenever I post a new video, so you never get behind. Patty says Meghan's dress looked ill-fitted. Oh no, I thought it looked rather good. Lillian Rose says, I'm going to watch the repeats on the Royal Wedding Hangover special as it's Sunday in the morning. I'm sure they will. Leslie says, you are such a fair commentator. Well done. This is the best. Thank you so much. Melinda says, Givenchy success style on Meghan's shoes. James Henford says, do a hat and fascinator video. It will go viral. Okay, whatever the people want, the people get. Don't worry if you're late, Mallory. It's fine. I was late too. I had technical difficulties. I had to restart the chat twice. But I wanted this chat to be perfect. So I completely restarted the whole thing. Jamie says, anyone who clicked on and saw a guy with a top hat and tiara instantly subscribed. Instant cloud 9. Maybe that's what it was. Subscribe to the guy with the top hat and tiara. Joe Bob says, hi, Elliot. How are you doing this evening? It's morning here in Shanghai. Hello to Shanghai. The wedding was shown last night at 8 p.m. The wedding was simply beautiful. It was indeed. They're so much in love. I would agree. Kinala wants a hats and dresses video. There's so much from today that I haven't been able to do because of time, that I will try and do tomorrow. But you know, there's just so much that goes on, and then new things come with new engagements. So I will try and get as much done as I possibly can. Okay, so I am going to leave tonight's chat here. Thank you to everyone for taking part in my royal wedding special. I think we've just about covered everything that's happened and everything that we know to be true and factual. There's still some loose ends we need to tie up. For example, we know where their country property is going to be. We need to find that out. And there's lots of videos and ideas that I've got that you guys have also given me, which is really handy. So I thank you all for all of your input. Don't forget, I have a community section on my main YouTube page, and I do try and post there or upload there daily. I sometimes put polls or questions, comments. I update when I put a particularly good video up. Of course, all my videos are good, but if there's something that's really important, then I will put it on there. So do go and check out my community section. It's a good way for me to communicate with you guys. So until next week, Saturday, I will be live, 10 o'clock GMT, from me in Shropshire. Goodbye.